Good morning. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. What's so special about today? Anything?
No.
You know what Saturday used to be for us? What did it used to be?
Sabbath.
Sabbath. What's Sabbath all about?
Rest day.
It's the day of rest. Where did we get that from? Do we even know?
The Bible.
The Bible. Yeah. The Creator made the heavens and the earth and everything else. And then on the seventh day, what did he do?
He rested.
He rested. So then what do we usually do?
Am I your Sunday school class?
No, I'm just thinking about Saturday and routines and rhythms because I'm a routine guy, out of routine, out of whack. So I was just thinking like today would be our typical Sabbath. And our Sabbath, what we do is no have-tos. So then we make sure that the grocery shopping's done, that our laundry's done. We don't do any have-tos. Yeah, so we usually try to take one day off a week. It feels like we're taking 5 or 6 days off a week, hence to COVID. But yeah, we're just thinking about Sabbath, no have-tos. Well, here we are. So we just want to do our morning meditation, the book of language of letting go. Is it my turn? I think it's my turn. You're such a better reader, but we like to take turns. Uh-oh. What's the date? Lessons on the job. April 25th. Finding your own truth. Oh. How about finding the truth? You gotta find your own truth. All right. All right. We must each discover our own truth. It does not help us if those we love find their truth. They cannot give it to us. It does not help if someone we love knows a particular truth in our lives. We must discover our truth for ourselves. We must each discover and stand in our own light. We often need to struggle, fail, and be confused and frustrated. That's how we break through our struggle. That's how we learn what is true and right for ourselves. We can share information with others. Others can tell us what may predictably happen if we pursue a particular course. But it will not mean anything until we integrate the message and it becomes our truth, our discovery, our knowledge. There is no easy way to break through and find our truth, but we can and will if we want to. We may want to make it easier. We may nervously run to friends asking them to give us their truth or make our discovery easier. They cannot. Light will shed itself in its own time. Each of us has our own share of truth waiting to reveal itself to us. Each of us has our own share of the light waiting for us to stand in it, to claim it as our own. Encouragement helps, support helps, a firm belief that each person has truth available, appropriate to each situation, is what will help. Each experience, each frustration, each situation has its own truth waiting to be revealed. Don't give up until you find it for yourself. We shall be guided into truth. If we are seeking it, we are not alone. Prayer for today. Today I will search my own truth, and I will allow others to do the same. I will place value on my vision and the vision of others. We are each on the journey, making our own discoveries, the ones that are right for us today. Wow, that's a deep one. I think it's good because I think as somebody that's ran a rehab for 8 years, and then lived my own addiction, I know that in my own addiction, I remember when I was 19, my parents sat me down. I was probably coming home after a 3-day bender, and they sat me down with like 4 or 5 rehab centers for little Johnny Ruby to go to. And they saw the truth. They knew the truth. They could see where I was headed. And they wanted the best for me. They wanted me to receive the truth. And I just said that was foolish. And boys will be boys. I have a vehicle. I have a roof over my head. I have clothes. I have a part-time job. Like, why would I have to succumb to a rehab center? That's ridiculous. And then running a rehab center, I get to see truth about people, but I think from where I've come from, I like to beat people over the head with truth. But my friend Kevin was teaching me about leading people into truth, so I think that's much more effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it resonated with me that it doesn't matter how many people around you feel they have the truth. It doesn't really matter what they say. I need to come to my own conclusions and my own realizations, and so I think for me, I would say God became real to me in ways that, like, I can't even explain to other people sometimes how I believe, what I believe, how I believe. And I think that one of the things that has been probably a big challenge of humility, maybe, is believing something, experiencing something, and like respecting other people's decisions not to believe the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's, that can be really hard, but still having relationship and loving people, and can we find a way to love each other and be community, be present with people that don't think the same way that we do necessarily. Mm-hmm. And I think that can be really, really hard.
Because then you get out of control of other people, and then you have acceptance and then unity.
Yeah.
Because we can be very divisive if people believe another truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that whole thing, I know that running a rehab center, the hardest guy to lead into recovery is the Christian who has God all figured out, who has the truth about God. Mm-hmm. And what we always say is that you need to find a different truth of who God really is, because your truth isn't the real God.
It's not leading you into freedom.
No.
Well, and I think that was your experience at rehab, but we're part of a church, and so we see people who come fresh into like exploring God and like, who is this God, and okay, I think that this could be real, and they want to learn more and more about it, but then they have to walk it out for themselves. Mm-hmm. and it's actually not an easy thing to believe something and allow it to change your life, and so we do have to respect other people. Mm-hmm. and pray for them. That's, from our perspective.
Well, I think,
and like what you said, that when Kevin was telling you, like, you can't just beat people over the head with it. We can't. We can pray for them.
We have to lead them into truth. And I think the danger is like trying to get people to believe a truth that maybe they don't believe, and then incorporating behavioral management. And I think what we have is a God that wants a relationship with everyone. Mm-hmm. And so we lead people into relationship with the truth, mm-hmm. which is love and freedom and joy and peace, mm-hmm. and all of those things.
But it reminds me of, when you're sitting with a group of people and like you're talking about something, but really, and you maybe like kind of debating something, but really then you realize like actually none of you have medical degrees, and no one actually has a real clue what they're thinking, what they're talking about. None of us have ever really studied or have any like scientific backup for what we're saying. We believe we're all Dr. Google, and then someone will Google it and see like, is this true or not? And you can go to a bunch of different websites to back up what it is that you're talking about. Oh no, I'm right. Well, if I Googled it a different way, I could probably find a different answer. And that it kind of makes me realize like all of us, even I, all my growing up years, I had these like ideas about God and truth and life, and I hadn't actually done any real research or studying. And so I think that that's the one thing that I have tried now to say to people who are like, well, I don't really know about God. Is it you don't really know about God, and you haven't actually looked into God? Like,
are you full of fear?
Yeah. Have you looked into this at all? Have you read the Bible? Have you, there's some excellent resources. I mean, you can look at it both ways, but look at it both ways. Don't look at one side and come to this decision, or, Google it in a biased way.
And I like how it says how we can help is encourage people and support people, and really understand that there is truth waiting for people. And so I think we leave people to find their own truth. We get to pray for people, encourage them, support them, and really understand that we do have a God of truth and a God that wants relationship with each person. And we have to know that God is pursuing them on his time. Yeah.
And that just because people don't choose what we believe, who we understand God to be, that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to reject them or shun them or shame them, or
But even simple truths of recovery, and you can't make people do. It's not about doing; it's about being recovered, not doing recovered. If that makes sense. So I think we encourage and lead people into truth, and know that God will speak to them when the time is right.
Even like truth about like what is recovery, what does a healthy lifestyle look like?
Yeah, what's going to keep you sober?
Telling somebody.
Yeah. Giving them all the answers.
What does a happy marriage look like?
Ooh! Let's quit on that note. No, we're so happy. We're so happy. All right, round 2, getting on the double. We will leave you for now. Have a great weekend. See you Sunday online, maybe. All right.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Eastern.
We're going to do our online Union City Church service at 4 p.m. Facebook, YouTube. All right.